So let's talk about digital distribution. Ooh, that's a scary topic nowadays. Gamers are afraid of digital distribution when it comes to consoles, but no one cares when it comes to PC, oddly. When Xbox One was supposed to have always online DRM and you wouldn't need the disc to play games, gamers flipped their shit, even though Steam is a form of DRM and always pretty much needs to be online, but I guess that's okay. Granted, I think that if Microsoft was more clear on what they wanted to do, which was to emulate what Valve has been doing with Steam for years, it would have been more accepted. Obviously, that's what they were trying to do. Why they didn't explain it that way? Well, that's probably why Don Matrick isn't there anymore. What is digital distribution? Well, instead of going to the store and buying something, you just buy it from an online store and it's downloaded right to your system. No need to go to a store, deal with people in the store or on the road, get home, pop in a disc, wait for it to install and then play it. Nope. Sit your ass down, download, and in a few minutes, play the game. The future is now, but yet no one really wants it. Digital distribution is scary for a couple of reasons. One of them being that not everyone has a fast connection. There's still places where dial-up or really slow DSL is the only option, and with games getting up and over 25 gigs in size, that's gonna be a really long time. When Diablo 3 came out, I was living in what could only be described as a hovel with a 1.5 megabit per second DSL connection. It took a week for that game to download. I could have went to the store 100 times over and picked up a copy, but I got it for free with that World of Warcraft 1-year commitment thing, so I was willing to suffer. Having a really slow connection and trying to download a game is the ultimate trial of patience. I can deal with no internet, but having slow internet is like the Chinese water torture. Even with the fast connection that I have now, downloading a game from Xbox Live is super slow. It took 6 to 8 hours to download LEGO Lord of the Rings and Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, but only took 20 minutes to download the first Witcher game from Steam, and that was a much bigger game. Obviously, the problem is on Microsoft's end. And then there's internet companies who put data caps on people's service so they can charge overages. I have a friend whose provider threatened to shut off his service for a month if he went over the cap, and the guy was nowhere near his 200 gigabyte cap, and his bill cycle was at the tail end. I have another friend whose internet is throttled to dial-up speeds if he uses more than 20 megabytes during the day, but gets unlimited usage at night, and even that's still a shoddy at best. And as I said a moment ago, even if you have a fast connection, the server from which you download it from can have its own share of issues. How many times has Sony's PlayStation Network been taken down for extended periods of time? Microsoft servers have also been taken down, but they seem to recover much quicker than Sony's. Just judging from unreliable connections, infrastructure, and shady providers alone, heading to digital distribution just won't work. Unless game companies decide that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, since most people are connected to some sort of high-speed internet as it is, and that was something Microsoft almost did with the Xbox One. But then there's the really scary part of it. When a game is delisted from a digital store and therefore cannot be bought until it's put back up. This happened with Deadpool on the PlayStation Network on Xbox Live Arcade because the license expired, but I think it's back up on those services. But even though it was delisted, you could still download it if you bought it. But let's dive into the real fear. What happens when a game is not only delisted, but obliterated from existence? Like PT, the playable teaser for Silent Hills. If you didn't download it when it was up, you're not getting it. And if you deleted it, you'll never get it back, since Konami wants to make sure it's forgotten. Luckily, it was free, but it sends a scary message. That you don't own your games. But in fact, technically, you never owned any of your games. You own a license that allows you to play it. In fact, every game has an end user license agreement, which states that the people distributing the license maintain ownership of the software and can do whatever they want with it. If they want to pull a game from a digital store so that you can never download it again, they can. They're within their right to do so. It sucks, but that's how it works. What worries me, and probably everyone else, is paying for a game, downloading it, deleting it because you need to make room for another game, and then being unable to download it if you wanted to play it again later down the road. I want to say I don't think that would happen, because you paid for those game licenses. They are yours to use. I think the game companies would be facing serious lawsuits if they tried to make it so you couldn't play a game that you paid for. They can do it now even with physical media by sending out updates through a system's online service to disable a game from being played by invalidating the license you paid for. But in the US and Canada, it's illegal for a credit to be bought with money to expire, which Konami just enacted with the PC version of Metal Gear Solid 5 in Japan by having MB coins expire 6 months after purchase. Since that's illegal in the United States, that same logic may be able to be applied to a game that was bought digitally if twisted the right way. And there used to be a benefit to buying digital games. A few years ago, digital copies used to be about $10 cheaper. I remember buying Sonic Generations on PC for $40 when it came out, when a physical copy was $50. Same went for Portal 2 being $10 cheaper than a physical copy. There was an incentive to buying digital copies when it came to PC. It saved you money and it saved the publishers money because those were discs that they didn't need to print. But they probably realized that since they print a lot of discs anyway, that doesn't matter, and that's why digital copies cost the same as physical now. The console makers have been pushing digital distribution because it works in the favor of publishers. It allows them to edge out GameStop as it would curb the selling of used games, which in essence is them wanting more of the pie for themselves, as I explained in my GameStop Hatred is Irrational video. Microsoft very heavy-handedly tried to force it with the Xbox One. They wanted to try the Steam model of business, but for some reason just wouldn't come out and say it, opting to hint at it, and that's what really killed them. While Sony, on the other hand, is doing it in a very subtle way. They have regular flash sales on the weekend, allowing you to snag games like penny candy just like Steam, which is what Microsoft should have said from the beginning when asked. And I don't know about Nintendo, as I don't browse their online stores all that much, although I do hear they have regular sales. Eventually we'll have no physical media. Some people even saying that Blu-ray discs are obsolete already, and that the move to digital media has already started. I've got a few movies and music that I bought digitally, and I got a bunch of games too. However, media in 4K and higher is going to slow it down until they get compression right, as a 4K movie can be around 100 gigabytes in size. We are heading to a digital only way of getting our media. It's going to happen because it's easier to get something that you want that way. Ever try to get a physical copy of a game that you want, but the closest GameStop that has it is 100 miles away, but yet you could download it digitally from an online service in minutes, or several hours if you're me trying to download a game from Xbox Live on your 360. Seriously, I have no idea why that is, as games from Steam download in minutes. I have a friend who has no physical copies of his PlayStation 4 games. They're all digital. I myself have been moving to a digital only way of getting my games as well. My digital library is much larger than my physical one. In fact, everything I've reviewed this year has been on PC, because digital media makes it so much easier. Because I don't have to move and I can be a lazy fat fuck and not have to get up, rifle through a drawer of game cases looking for a game and then moving to put it into a console and play. I'm preferring digital more and more every day, but I can empathize with those that are resisting that change for whatever reason. Having a large collection to show off is cool. Your internet is really slow. Believe me, I've been down that road before. You like the experience of going to a game store and picking out a new game, or maybe you find trading in games to be a good way to save money. Even though I'm preferring digital more, I'm in no hurry to go that way. I'm not going to rush it because I'm happy taking the scenic route to the path to the future.